Good evening. Glad that you are watching us on the county's television on the news tonight. KAGWE, KEMSA, corruption. It was a long afternoon for Health CS Mutahi Kagwe, PS Susan Mochache and Transport CAS Chris Obure as they appeared before the Parliamentary Health Committee to answer to queries on COVID-19 billions. Kagwe says he is clean. The data of the ministry is, however, sticking. The blame game continues. Also tonight, scramble for jobs. Thousands of private school teachers are scrambling for 5,000 job opportunities advertised by the Teachers Service Commission. The scramble is real as the Teachers Union faults the process. The details here tonight. Plus, current prayers. Also tonight, prayer warrior of Karen. We take a look at prayer meetings hosted by the new bishop in town, Deputy President William Ruto in his Karen office. Is it a case of praying for the nation or strategizing for 2022? Tonight of all nights, Faith Chepile is our sign language interpreter. TV47 News Tonight begins right now. The stalemate at KEMSA continues to take new twists and turns. The Health CS Mutahi Kagwe, while appearing before the National Assembly's Health Committee, said he has never stepped at KEMSA premises physically. Health PS Susan Mochache, who was also grilled by the Health Committee, said that there is no actual loss of public funds at KEMSA. Josh Onsare begins our broadcast tonight.
Health CS Mutahi Kagwe and the Principal Secretary Susan Mochache were pressed hard to shed light on the KEMSA scandal. Kagwe defending himself against claims that he manipulated COVID-19 tender awards at the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority KEMSA through calls, text messages or emails to top officials.
Can I state for the record that I am actually feeling bad to say this because it is something that I should not say. But I've just been so caught up with the management of COVID-19 that I have not personally ever been to KEMSA. Forget about working with a general or brigadier or even my PS. I hear it is my PS and I who work constantly. Mheshimiwa, read my lips through this through this mask. I have never been to KEMSA.
The suspended CEO, Jonah Manjari, in his submission on KEMSA looting last week said CS Kagwe and PS Susan Mochache influenced the decision-making in the procurement process, a statement Kagwe dismissed, saying he has never stepped physically in KEMSA. Kagwe has dared Manjari or any official who had received such instructions to show proof.
The only thing to say is that usually when you are managing an institution, there are a number of issues that can be challenging. A, if, for example, if you go over budget of an item. B, just inefficiency. The issue of efficiency is also part of the management rating. It is not just a question of being corrupt or not being corrupt. There is also the question of general efficiency in management, and that counts for a lot as well. So,
Health Principal Secretary Susan Mochache has accused KEMSA of bypassed the Ministry of Health in the procurement and the expenditure involved on the PPEs. Mochache, however, says all procurement for the commodities was done by KEMSA as opposed to what has been reported.
You can see now here KEMSA is coming to the reality of overcommitting, and now they have committed up to 5 billion. And Chair, I want to also be very categorical to say that the ministry was not aware of, that such a commitment had been made. And perhaps that's why the letter had gone directly to the National Treasury and not through the ministry. So, Chair, you can see there the next letter is the letter that actually had originated from KEMSA to the CS of the National Treasury, seeking for finances to be able to meet this cost that they had incurred of 5.14 billion.
Meanwhile, Transport CS Chris Obure, who was representing CS James Masharia, was dismissed due to lack of a detailed report. The Ministry of Transport will submit its report on the clearance of Jack Ma's shipment from JKIA on Thursday. Joash Onsare, TV47.
Moving on, thousands of private school teachers are scrambling for at least 5,000 opportunities recently advertised by the Teachers Service Commission, TSC. Our Education Affairs reporter Andrin Kilemi interacted with some of these teachers who are hopeful that their applications will see the light of the day and has filed the following report.
At Gentrix Omondi's home, a teacher in one of the private schools in Nairobi, we find her trying to submit her application on the Teachers Service Commission portal, which had recently posted at least 5,000 vacancies for teachers in both primary and secondary schools.
I'm really happy that TSC has advertised, and unlike the other years, they are doing replacements and new recruitment at the same time. So I'm really glad, and I'm hoping that it will go through this time around, because I left school in 2014, college 2014. Since then, I have tried in vain, and this is the third time I'm trying. So since yesterday night, I've been trying to apply, but it hasn't gone through. Probably because there is a lot of traffic on the portal.
Just like Gentrix Omondi and many other teachers in the country, Jennifer Nzao has also submitted her application for the job on the TSC portal. This being the fourth time she is submitting her applications.
The farthest that I've gone is just the verification of documents, and they just go through your documents, and then they have like I don't know if I should call it a marking scheme, whereby they give you points according to your age, then the year that you graduated from college, and the points that you scored in college.
In the selection process, the selection panel shall harmonize the list of applicants with that of the TSC sub-county director and conduct interviews for those who meet the criteria. The county director should note any inconsistencies, make decisions based on the guidelines, and advise the applicants and the commission accordingly. Applicants shall present themselves in person to the selection panel, and the panel shall score each applicant based on the selection score guide. But according to these teachers, the criteria used in the selection process for qualified TSC members is not effective.
I think TSC should, as a commission, should change its way of doing things. Truth is, there is a biting shortage in schools. There are lots of teachers out here. As a teacher, I feel aggrieved by the fact that 6 years later, I have tried to apply many times. And I'm sure there are some of my colleagues that are going through the same thing. So talking about a situation whereby we have this pandemic, most of us have had problems. We've not been able to pay bills.
I don't know the criteria that they use, but I don't think it's fair. Because if it were fair, I think people from years like 2011, 2010 wouldn't be struggling in private schools right now.
NAT Secretary General Wilson Sosion, however, says that Teachers Service Commission has failed in playing its role fully since the teachers' shortage in the country continues to affect learning in the country.
Upungufu ya walimu ni 1,100 katika shule zote za umma katika Jamhuri ya Kenya. Na ile imekuwa ikifanyika ni kuajiri kila mwaka 5,000 ama 10,000. Ikilinganishwa na upungufu, hilo haliwezi kusuluhisha kamwe. Na upungufu ya walimu ni hatari sana katika jamhuri. Na kwa hivyo hiyo program imekuwa ikiendelea katika tume ni kinyume cha sheria na matakwa ya wananchi wa Kenya.
Susion has further criticized TSC, saying the commission has failed to use its mandate to serve its people.
Tume ya kuajiri walimu iwajibike na ijue kwamba uhuru yake ni uwezo ya kuajiri walimu ya kutosha na kuwatuma kwa mashule. Lakini sio kutumia nguvu zake kugandamiza wale walimu tayari wameajiriwa ama kufurugana na chama cha walimu. Uhuru wa tume ni kuwa na uwezo ya kuajiri walimu wanaotakikana na kutuma kwa mashule.
The quest by private school teachers to work under the Teachers Service Commission is evident, even as most of them struggle to make ends meet amidst the coronavirus pandemic. Andrin Kilemi for TV47.
Elsewhere, the government is set to sponsor a motion to have counties get at least 50% of their financial budget to rescue the devolved units before the revenue share impasse is resolved. According to Majority Whip Irungu Kangata, the Senate is set to debate and pass the motion which will see counties resolve some of their emerging issues due to lack of funds. The matter will be discussed on Tuesday next week.
The discussions are ongoing. I have a lot of faith with members of the committee, the so-called mediation committee, headed by Honorable Senator Wetangula, Honorable Senator Sakaoja. I urge Kenyans to await the decision of that committee. I do not have evidence of a senator being influenced by some external forces corruptly to support or reject matters under debate in the Senate. Tuesday, we shall bring a motion seeking to allow counties to access 50% of the monies they got last financial year.
Elsewhere, Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'I has ordered the freezing of funds and property of 9 individuals linked to terror acts in the country. In a statement, Matiang'I says that the freezing of the individuals' accounts is part of an unrelenting resolve to pursue and confront terror threats heads on. Zaida Mohammed has the details.
In a statement sent to newsrooms, Interior CS Dr. Fred Matiang'I has ordered the freezing of accounts belonging to 9 individuals. The 9 include Halima Ali, Walid Zain, Sheikh Buru, Mohammed Ali, Nusaiba Haji, Abdimajid Hassan, Mohammed Ali Abdi, Mukhtar Ali, and Mire Almi. According to Matiang'I, the freezing of the individuals' accounts is part of an unrelenting resolve to pursue and confront terrorism threats head-on, adding that the only way to deny terrorists the means to threaten the lives and livelihoods of Kenyans is to choke their facilitation networks. Zainab Mohammed, TV47.
Meanwhile, President Uhuru Kenyatta has told the global community that Kenya will lead the Eastern Africa counter-terrorism efforts by working with regional governments and partners. The President has reiterated that Kenya will ride on its membership in the Security Council to solve the terror problem in East Africa.
It is therefore my hope that we will identify and propose workable solutions to fill the gaps in pandemic response capacities and exchange views on the emerging security threats and opportunities, as well as opportunities associated with the pandemic. The pandemic has impacted regional and global peace and security efforts due to the fact that attention is increasingly being devoted to domestic and national pandemic response efforts and diverted from peace and security spheres. The pandemic has also disrupted diplomatic efforts towards regional crisis management and conflict resolution endeavors, thereby creating the potential for escalating tensions and the reversal of the gains made over the years in peace building. The pandemic, coupled with the globalization of terrorism and violent extremism, has posed an even greater threat to international peace and security. Several countries continue to experience protracted armed conflict, including from activities by non-state armed groups, as well as a marked humanitarian crisis, often with a significant trans-border, and global dimension, as well as facing the ever-present threats of terrorism.
Let's move from matters terror to other stories. Migori Governor Okoth Obado's second term has been marred with court cases, from murder charges to embezzlement of county funds and now an impeachment threat. But is Okoth Obado a grand schemer or just an unlucky man? When did the proverbial rain start beating Governor Okoth Obado? Mwangi Maina connects the dots.
Standing tall, slightly above 6 feet, with a beckoning bald head, a dull demeanor and rough-faced meet Migori's inaugural governor, Zakaria Okoth Obado, a man embroiled in court cases and not new to controversy and chaos. The former teacher, businessman and farmer is a troubled man. He is steering a ship against a furious and raging tides. Obado is a man walking on a tightrope. He rose to fame in 2013 when he bagged the Migori gubernatorial seat on a ticket of a little-known party, the People's Democratic Party, beating ODM pants down in the party's stronghold. Since then, his has been a tainted reputation and a controversial profile. In 2017, Okoth Obado was accused of sponsoring rowdy youth who stormed Ochilo Oyako's campaign meeting, where violent confrontations occurred. The meeting, steered by Governor Ali Hassan Joho, aborted prematurely, and later, Obado was fined 2 million Kenya shillings by the ODM disciplinary committee. In 2018, Obado was in the limelight yet again, this time round facing murder charges stemming from the horrendous and gruesome murder of her estranged lover, Rongo University student Sharon Otieno. Sharon, who was then 7 months pregnant, is said to have been raped, tortured and stabbed 8 times and her body dumped at Kodera Forest. Obado was arraigned, charged with a well-orchestrated murder, spent almost a month in remand and later released on bond. The case is still active in court. In 2018, he became a close ally of Deputy President William Ruto, and even at one time, he sought for endorsement from the people of Migori to be walking freely with the Deputy President. His woes became even more. This pitted him more against his party that he has been at loggerheads with. ODM has already initiated his ouster. Obado confessed that he was being thrown in a crocodile's mouth and asked for prayers after facing the murder charges. Not once, not twice, the stand-talking governor has clashed publicly with other leaders. Fast forward to 2020, Obado testified in court over alleged poisoning of South Kanyam KAGWE MCA, who alleged that he was poisoned after taking tea at a Migori hotel in the company of Governor Okoth Obado. Obado, his wife and 4 children have so far been charged with embezzlement of 73.4 million Kenya shillings from the county government of Migori. He has so far been barred from stepping foot in the county office. His career is in jeopardy as impeachment is on its way, with the Deputy Governor Nelson Mahanga already taking charge of the office. The Orange Party is championing the impeachment motion, but Obado says the grounds he is accused have not been looked into, and I quote, MCAs have a right to initiate an impeachment motion against a governor, but why would the party force the Migori MCAs to impeach me when most of the grounds for what I have been accused of have not been looked into? Migori's Okoth Obado is a governor wallowing in murky waters. The question being, is the 73.4 million scandal the last nail on Okoth Obado's coffin of dry bones? Mwangi Maina, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Mwangi Maina, for that report. 18 minutes past 9 p.m. Time for us to take a short break. But before we do that, your voice and opinion, of course, matters. Keep talking to us. The hashtag to use is TV47 News. Send us a message on 22047. Let me sample some of your feedback. Anderson Mugendi on Facebook says he's watching from Meru County. Peche Patience says he's watching. Gentric Omondi on Facebook says, thank you TV47 for talking to me. Henry Osembo says watching from Ruben. Text us, send us a message on 22047. Time for us to take a short break now, but let's have a look at the numbers in as far as the COVID-19 cases in the country are concerned. Welcome back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abubakar Abdullahi. Thank you for staying with us. Now, long-distance drivers at the Busia border are complaining of long queues due to the COVID-19 testing time. The drivers claim that the queues have been caused by their counterparts from Uganda who are flocking at the Kenyan side due to the high charges in Uganda.
Congestion. Long overstretching queues of more than 60 kilometers in Busia is caused by what drivers say is high charges of testing COVID-19 by the Ugandan government, an issue that has made them take the tests in Alupe Hospital in Busia before proceeding to the neighboring country.
Dereva tunaumia, akazatumiza ni jam. Jamu na kwenye jamu for 5 to 6 days. Hakuna pale tunaenda. Uganda sasa hizi wanasikia wanasema kupima driver mmoja ni 6500. Jameni, 6500 utaipata wapi kama dereva? Ombi langu ni Waziri Machari akuja ongea na huyo wa minister wa transport upande wa Uganda. Waje wakae pamoja, kibisha pamoja, watafute solution. Bila hivyo jamani, sisi hapa tunaumia.
Mambo tu hii ya kupima tu ndio inaleta hii jam yote. Unakuta results zinachelewa kutoka. Kama sasa tumeambiwa Uganda kule kupima itakuwa ni pesa. Na lazima tupime.
The drivers say the hiking of the prices by the Ugandan authority will force the drivers to wait for more than 2 days to get their results, saying the queue might overstretch in the neighboring Uasin County. They further pointed out that the long queues of trucks are posing great danger to the residents who mingle with the drivers as they seek services.
Chetu cha serikali ile mgugu yetu ya transport naona imenyamaza kimya na naona hizi masaibu. Lakini hatujapata majibu yoyote.
The Lake Region Economic Bloc Advisory and Resource Mobilization Committee and County Government of Busia have expressed fears over Ugandan truck drivers flocking into Kenya to test for coronavirus COVID-19 following the 6,500 shillings charges introduced by the Ugandan government. They said the move will overstretch Busia County resources in fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, considering that the tests are conducted for free.
The charges introduced yesterday by the Uganda side, 6,500 Kenyan shillings, has caused a surge in the Kenyan side. Everybody is running from Ugandan side because Kenyan side is testing for free. So the daily average numbers they always of samples they take, which is between 180 to 200, has already surged to a level which is overwhelming. And economically, this is affecting the region.
Busia Deputy Governor Moses Mulomi is appealing to the two governments to address the issue amicably.
Itakuwa challenge kwetu tukiwa hapa Busia. Kwa hivyo ni neno ambalo linatakiwa lishughulikiwe upesi kati ya Kenya na Uganda kiserikali na kidiplomasia kujua ni njia gani tunaweza kutatua, kwa sababu tukiwa wakaaji wa Busia na serikali ya kaunti ya Busia itakuwa ngumu sana kuwezesha sisi kustahimili hiyo kazi, kwa sababu itakuwa upande wetu itatulemea.
Dennis Otieno, TV47.
From Uganda, Busia and the border, let's get back to Nairobi. And now in recent times, religious meetings have increasingly become the norm at Deputy President William Ruto's Karen and Sugoi residence, attracting clergies from across the country. But the meetings continued to be put under sharp scrutiny over their genuineness following remarks made by the second in command on a raft of issues in the country. Plotting for 2022, maybe or just maybe. Our reporter David Mudoka tells us more.
It is among the latest worship sessions to be held at Deputy President William Ruto's current residence. And just like in this popular Christian Kikuyu song, Ngai wakwa we wa magegania, to mean a God of wonders, the DP has capitalized in worshipping from home intrigues. A move that has been seen as a 2022 campaign strategy, maybe in the footsteps of former President Daniel Moi, who was a faithful member of the African Inland Church AIC. And even as the tens of congregants sang along in awe at the DP's apparent eloquence in the Kikuyu dialect, this particular religious event is just but the icing on the cake to the many events that have either been held here at Karen or at Ruto's Sugoi home. Despite the full disregard for COVID-19 containment measures here, among them the ban on social gathering as well as social distancing, Ruto has appeared to use the forums to drum up support ahead of the 2022 presidential elections.
The same way they did not succeed then, I want to tell you, they will not succeed now. Blackmail, threats, intimidation. They did not succeed in 2012 against Uhuru Kenyatta and myself. They will not succeed in 2022.
The pulpit has been Ruto's platform to fire a salvo at the ruling Jubilee government, which some of his allies says sidelined him.
Hatutaki ukoloni mamboleo. Ati watu wenye mamlaka fulani wanajaribu kushurutisha na kulazimisha kanisa ati mutafanya hii, hamutafanya ile.
Whether the DP is banking on the clergy, has he plots for 2022 through the numerous religious events at either Karen or Sugoi has raised enough eyebrows lately. In the month of August alone, Ruto held at least 9 religious meetings with clergymen and congregants from various denominations, a significant rise from July's 5. On August 5th, Ruto met members of the East Africa Pentecostal Church led by Bishop Geoffrey Mudhinja, while a day later, he hosted religious leaders from Narok in Karen. On August 11th, the DP yet again hosted a delegation of Kajiado South constituents led by MP Kato Olemetito and Senator Mary Senator before hosting African Inland Church leaders from Lower Eastern 2 days later in Karen. On 18th August, Ruto met clergymen from Baringo at Karen, while a couple days later, the DP hosted Nairobi's faith leaders in Karen. On 23rd August, it was time to shift the pulpit to Sugoi before returning to Karen, where he met the clergy from the Federation of Evangelical and Indigenous Christian Churches of Kenya on 25th August. The final landing of the month was 4 days later in Mvita, where he met faith-based leaders from Vita and Nyali regions. The alarming series of the religious meetings continues to cause a stir, with the DP's remarks during the events revealing there is more than meets the eye. David Muthoka, TV47.
Well, from the church in Karen, let's get to other stories. And children department officers and the DCI in Machakos have intercepted a middle-aged lady for suspecting to have sold her child. Confirming the incident, Machakos Sub-County Children Officer Emily Kimanzi revealed that there was a planned deal between the real mother of the newborn and that of the buyer.
Investigations revealed that the mother of the newborn had entered an agreement with the buyer of the baby, who was to pay 1,000 shillings immediately the baby was born.
Kulingana na yule ambaye alizaa the small baby wa 3 months, anasema ametoka Kitui area ya Matinyani, na yule mwingine mkubwa kidogo mama yake anasema ametoka area ya Kibwezi. So wote tumekuta na huyu mama ambaye anasema aliwapea 1,000 ndio wakampatia mtoto.
The mother of the newborn is said to have lied to her husband that she had aborted the pregnancy, while the buyer of the baby, who has also recorded medical problems resulting to her not getting a child, had also tricked her husband that she was pregnant.
Amekuwa na medical complications ndio hajaweza kupata, lakini for the last 9 months amekuwa akidanganya bwanake ya kwamba ako expectant for 9 months, akaenda until sasa the 9th month akaenda na akarudi akaambia bwanake amezaa, na bwana akaamini ya kwamba amezaa. Na yule aliuza, bwana alikuwa amesema wa abort, na yeye akaenda akadanganya bwana ameabort.
For now, the baby is under the care of the children department, while the 2 ladies involved in the transaction have also been detained awaiting court charges. Another 5-year-old girl has also been rescued from the buyer awaiting investigations. Immaculate Tuma, TV47.
Elsewhere, a row is brewing between NACHU residents and the Railway Authority over compensation of their land. The residents say the delay in the certification of the map has emanated to be the deal of the poor state that they are in.
Kiambu County are decrying over certification of a map that led the coordinates of the land which was taken for the purpose of constructing the standard gauge railway, leaving them landless and uncompensated.
Maneno ya map iishe kabisa ndio tuwe mashamba yetu angalau iwe safi. Sasa kwa map ndio sana kumetatiza. Kwa maana hata wenye wanakuja wanapata mashamba yetu si clear.
The row has sucked in the Kiambu County government as the residents accuse the county of not presenting the land subdivision to the Kenya survey, thereby curtailing title deeds processing.
Tangu tunapewa hii machamba kutoka 89 hatujalipwa.
The residents want the land to be degazetted as grazing area to avert conflict with neighboring pastoralists. Kiambu County Leader of Majority, Gideon Gashara, said that the county is working round the clock to ensure that the paperwork will be done in 3 months, especially degazetting as a grazing land.
Sabri ya Kiambu ilipitisha hiyo maneno na tunaomba watu wetu wawe na kusubiri kidogo ndio tuweze kukamilisha mambo yetu kama miezi 3 hivi.
Mambo ambayo imetekeleza kuona kwamba tumesajili zile map ambazo hazijawahi kuwa zimesajiliwa na Surveyors of Kenya. Ili posa wale watu ambao wameguzwa na ile standard gauge railway waweze kupokea maripo yao. Sisi kama Kiambu tumepokea hizo schemes zile ramani kutoka kwa ule surveyor, na kwa sasa tunafanya ile kazi kuona ya kwamba ile kazi ambayo alikuwa amepatiwa ya kwamba ameifanya kwa ukamilifu. Tumeanza kufanya kazi na tunafanya degazetment ya Kiambu Western Grazing Zone to Karai Ndeya Settlement Scheme. Hiyo kazi imeanza na mnamo wiki ijayo mtaweza kuona hiyo kwa gazette notice.
Inat Gidhua, TV47.
Moving on, the University of Eldoret has started research on herbal medicine in North Rift region as a way of promoting usage of safe herbal medicine to treat diseases in the villages. Boniface Baraza toured West Pokot County and has filed the following report.
For over 5 years, Richard Kipropa, herbalist, has been attending to patients who suffer from cancer and diabetes at Ketio Village in Kapenguria Town, West Pokot County.
Niko na msichana hapa ambaye ilikuwa ugonjwa wa matiti mwaka 2 iliyopita. Nilisongoka hospitali, nilikuja Kapenguria, nikaenda Eldoret, ikaonekana kwamba hii ni kansa. So nikarudisha nyumbani, nikakuja kwa huyu daktari. Hapa ndio nilipata uponyaji ya mtoto yangu.
Some of his daily clients want the government to cooperate with the herbalist by conducting a thorough research to promote access to safe health care in this region where majority of the people rely on homemade medical solutions.
Hii ni madawa ya makuka na watu wetu walikuwa wanatumia hii dawa kutibia nyumbani, na hatutawachia nje serikali wakisema ya kwamba hii dawa yetu wacha tupeleke KEMRI ithibitishwe na iangaliwe kwamba inatibu hii ugonjwa ya saratani.
This is what informed the University of Eldoret to conduct a research on the said herbal medicine to ascertain its efficiency and usefulness in treatment.
We work with herbalists with a view of assisting them to do finer biochemical analysis to specifically identify and isolate and where possible purify the active ingredients that actually cures the disease. And then we as a university purify, and after testing and meets our criteria, which is if it will treat 9 people out of 10, which is 90%, then it satisfies our criteria, then we will move ahead to have it produced in large scale.
This research targets over 150 herbalists who want to develop diabetes and cancer medicine center in North Rift region. The county government of West Pokot has asked Kenya Medical Research Institute KEMRI to devolve medical research functions, especially to counties relying heavily on herbalists.
Weke manane kuchunga miti ya local trees, indigenous trees Kenya mzima. Tuongeze hata miti ya kisasa tupande. Sababu kutokana na hiyo research KEMRI na kwingine na hata the university laboratories kina biochemistry, microbiology na environmentalists, universities na research institutions watatumia hizo kuangalia. Mimi mwenyewe nimekuja kuangalia, hii sio kama ile ya msee ya Tanzania.
Bonfas Barasa, TV47, West Pokot County.
Well, still in West Pokot, women have protested over the expulsion of 4 members of the county assembly who are alleged to be disloyal to the party. Grace Rengei, Nancy Chombiri, Josephine Cheprum, and Jackie Ripo are the 4 KANU MCAs who have been de-whipped by the oldest party in the country.
Tunashangaa chama cha KANU hakijapewa mama wetu warnings, hakijafanya chochote, bali imeweza tu kuambia muache kazi. Surely hiyo ni Kenya ya wapi tunaelekea? Gideon Moi, ninakuaddress leo. Tunajua we bado unajifunza siasa. Nenda polepole.
Wakati gavana Lonyangapu alitaka Catherine Mugenyang speaker, alituomba kwamba hata lija wanaume wengi walitaka hiyo nafasi. Lakini gavana Lonyangapu akasema kwa sababu yenu wa mama wa Pokot mulibaki nyuma, tupatie kura. Sisi wa mama 10 tuliunga mkono.
Kuipa rasilimali, kuipa pesa za Pokot. Kama vile wametoa signatories. Madam Speaker amekuwa na cartels yake na kubadilisha wale ambao wanaenda kutoa pesa pengine. Ndio, au pia inaonekana mkono yao wanataka kuiba hiyo pesa. Sisi kama Pokot tunasema pesa yetu haiwezi yibwa. Tunajua nyinyi vizuri kuwa pia KANU walitutesa enzi ya 1984.
Elsewhere, the Kenya Revenue Authority has agreed to lift a notice against Nairobi County over a contentious 3.5 billion shillings tax bill after meeting with Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. The Wednesday meeting was attended by the Commissioner for Domestic Taxes, Elizabeth Mayo, the Deputy Commissioner in charge of Accounts Management, Daniel Kariga, and representatives from the Public Sector Division and Enforcement Division of KRA, led by the Acting Commissioner, Stephen Yande. The Nairobi County Government accounts had been attached due to the agency notice. Governor Mike Sonko committed that his administration will make an immediate payment of 242 million shillings. Watching TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakar Abdullahi. 42 minutes past 9 p.m. Time for us to take another short break. We'll be back with sports news after this break. Stay tuned. back to TV47 News Tonight with me, Abu Bakar Abdullahi. Let's get sporty and get to the fields. And the Football Kenya Federation National Executive Committee aspirant, Tom Alila, has dismissed claims by a section of people who term him as a project of the current president of FKF, Nick Mwendwa. According to Alila, FKF is the only body mandated to run the elections as accredited by FIFA, and any other polls held aside shall be considered null and void. Dennis Otieno tells us more.
Barely a day after 4 aspirants of elective positions at the Football Kenya Federation FKF termed the exercise illegal, National Executive Committee aspirant Tom Alila has lashed at the comments, saying the outcry has come a little too late since the nomination process has already begun.
All those issues that they were saying that they should have written and deliberated there, as they are saying they're waiting for the ruling. But right now the die is cast. Those issues of threats of that they're going to form their federations, nobody cares about that anymore because FIFA will not recognize them.
Alila remained adamant that he followed the required steps to be a registered candidate of an FKF board.
All these people who are now making noise are aspirants, as we are now certified candidates. And we had to take our papers to the certified electoral board, which is going to sort our issues in matters of elections.
Alila also emphasized on the credibility of the Federation's elective board, saying it has followed all the right steps and had not been put into questions in the Sports, Disputes and Tribunal ruling.
The electoral board was not part and parcel of these problems, and they have done everything to the book according to our satisfaction. That's why we have decided to now bring our papers and go for the elections. Nothing more.
According to Alila, despite waiting for the Sports, Disputes and Tribunal ruling, the 4 contentious aspirants should have presented their papers to the electoral board.
They need to have brought their papers. I'm very sorry for them, time elapsed. They gave enough time for delegates. Even the election board told people that if they had any issues, they need to write and they will deliberate on the issues.
Among the 4 aspirants who have challenged the Federation's elections include immediate former FKF boss Sam Nyamwea, Nicholas Musonye, Twaha Mbarak and Sam Sholei, who on Tuesday afternoon said they shall resolve to run their own parallel poll. Dennis Otieno, TV47 Sports.
Thank you, Dennis Otieno, for that report. Moving on, former Harambee Stars, Gor Mahia and Mathare United centre forward Kevin Oliech will be laid to rest on Saturday at the family's rural home in Seme, Kisumu, on Saturday. Kevin, who is the younger brother of Harambee Stars all-time goal scorer Dennis Oliech, passed on in Germany after a long battle with cancer. Elsewhere, one of the outstanding players in the second edition of Chapa Dimba tournament, Benson Ochieng, has penned a 5-year contract with Kenya Premier League champions Well, from France, that brings us to the end of tonight's edition of TV47 News Tonight. With me, Abu Bakr Abdullahi, on behalf of the entire team that made this production possible. Bye for now, but enjoy the rest of our programs. Tonight of all nights. God bless.